I'm Feigenbaum, Vice President for Studies at the Carnegie Endowment. And I want first to congratulate the incredible team at Carnegie, India, on yet another edition of their marquee Global Technology Summit. It's a shame, of course, that we're not meeting in person in Bangalore, but the fact that we're able to connect from all over the world, even amid the trials of the pandemic, is itself a testament to the power of technology and to how technology is changing our work, our daily lives, and the way we interact with one another. But whether in person or remotely, this summit is an extraordinary event that connects technology trends in India, a leading technology power in its own right, with technology trends from every corner of the globe. And let's face it, while technology has always been integral to shaping the future of work, industry, service delivery, and defense, its applications and manifestations are changing very rapidly indeed. Now, one element of that involves the growing political risks, not just to co-innovation, but to cross-border collaborations of all kinds. For a couple of decades now, companies have grown accustomed to thinking about how to get capital, ideas, technologies, and the collaborators who foster them across the barriers erected by national borders. But the reality is that a world that once seemed to be heading inexorably for greater integration is looking in important ways like it's actually heading for greater fragmentation. Countries around the world are taking distinctive positions on everything from privacy laws to the treatment of data access and transfers to the localization of data. So on some elements of data policy, for example, competing standards have emerged in capitals from Tokyo to New Delhi. And for companies, it's just an inescapable fact that where any given government lands on these policy and regulatory questions affects how they can operate. And corporate strategy increasingly needs to navigate regulatory diversity and policy fragmentation, rather than the world of common standards and strategic integration that many had hoped for. In India's case, this poses unique challenges for global firms. Some moves, after all, are clearly targeted, such as the country's ban on Chinese apps, but other choices, like the ongoing debate about data localization, could ultimately have the net effect of increasing costs to global companies of operating there. Now, of course, governments have some concerns about companies too, not least what the rise of big multinational technology firms means for local competitors, and in some cases, how these huge companies regulate or filter information and even speech. And that in turn has fueled an already tense narrative about sovereignty in cyberspace. So it's clear that the world is changing rapidly, but also changing in ways that will force many to question assumptions. Companies will need to relook national and cross-border strategies, especially in a world of growing techno-nationalism by governments of all kinds. Governments, for their part, they need to think about the second and third order effects of policy choices that reflect domestic political imperatives, but resonate far beyond their own borders. Clearly, the state has returned front and center, and state-led approaches are being emulated in parts, even in the United States, my country, which, after all, has always celebrated market-centered narratives about innovators tinkering and discovering in some small garage in some small town. So we've arrived at a new, yet eerily old world, one that could sequester technology in the name of security and permanently alter the scope of innovation.